Good evening and welcome to District 28 Town Hall featuring Chancellor Kamar H. Samuels. My name is Jaden Mieses of Class 810 and I proudly serve as the Student Government President of MS217. On behalf of our entire Executive Board, it is my distinct honor to welcome you this evening. We sincerely appreciate your presence and participation. At MS217, we are united by a shared commitment to lifelong learning and student growth. We strive to cultivate integrity, reflection, critical thinking, kindness, and a strong sense of responsibility toward one another and our planet. In partnership with our families, we are dedicated to empowering students to find their voices, embrace challenges, and contribute meaningfully to their communities. Our school is a place where every voice matters. Through student government, we actively promote leadership and civic engagement, ensuring that students have authentic opportunities to express their ideas and help shape positive change within our school community. Without further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce to our principal, Ms. Tushman. Thank you again for joining us this evening.
Good evening. Good evening, esteemed community of the Great 28. Let's hear it. I'm going to keep it brief. I just want to welcome you all to Middle School 217. We are a proud community of exceptional staff, students, and families, and I think everybody got to see a little glimpse of that tonight. Can we hear a round of applause for our band, our dance, our chorus, our men of strength, and our young women of power who are serving food, setting up tables? Let's hear it for them. We are humbled to host this event this evening, and I am so proud to see all of you with us tonight. Before we get started with the Chancellor, good evening, Chancellor. Before we get started officially, we do have some students who would like to give a small token of appreciation from the Great 28 to Chancellor Samuels and to the team from the CEC up here this evening. We also want to celebrate one of our students and her talent, Andrea Burgos Batres, who has drawn a portrait of the Chancellor to present to him this evening. Go ahead, girl. Get up there and shine. Andrea has hand-drawn a beautiful portrait of Chancellor Samuels, and she just wanted to have the moment to give it to herself. So we just want to applaud her. And I think she did a pretty good job. Okay, thank you guys for giving us that moment. It was really special and important. So without further ado, I am going to hand off the mic to CEC of the Grade 28 President Quentin Mezitin. Quentin?
Good evening, everyone. Is it on? Guys, can okay. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the CEC District 28 Town Hall. Give us a hand real quick. All right. My name is Quentin Mezitin. I am the president of the CEC 28. And tonight we're going to host our special guest, Chancellor Kamar Samuels. So we thank you in advance for your patience this evening, and as we take one more moment to ensure that those waiting, wishing to access the interpretation can do so. So interpreters, please announce your respective instructions in order. Spanish interpreters, can you please make the announcement at this time?
Buenas noches a todos. Hoy día Marisela y con la señora Graciela estaremos ofreciendo servicios de interpretación en español. Si está aquí presente, puede ir a la parte de atrás a recibir un recibidor. Si está en la línea de conferencia por Zoom, puede marcar al 646-828-766. Ingresa el número de conferencia que es 160-759-899, símbolo numeral. Gracias.
Thank you. Arabic interpreters, can you please make the announcement at this time?
مساء الخير على السادة الراغبين في الاستماع للترجمة الفورية باللغة العربية التوجه إلى مؤخرة القاعة حتى يمكن الحصول على سماعة للترجمة الفورية وأيضا على الاتصال بالرقم 929-205-6099 ثم بعد ذلك إدخال معرف الاجتماع 830-0354-6768 وبعد ذلك علامات الشباك مرتين. Thank you.
Thank you. Bangla interpreters, can you please make the announcement at this time?
গুড ইভিনিং, শুভ সন্ধ্যা। আজকে এখানে অভ্যাগত অতিথিদের মধ্যে যারা বাংলা ভাষাভাষী লোকজন আছেন, ফ্যামিলিজ আছেন, তাদের সব সুবিধার্থে জানাচ্ছি যে আমরা আপনাদের আজকের এই চ্যান্সেলর মিটিংয়ের যে কিছু বিষয় আলোচনা হবে তা আমরা ইংরেজিতে আপনাদেরকে বুঝিয়ে দেওয়ার জন্য এবং বাংলায় অনুবাদ করে দেওয়ার জন্য সেটা আমরা এখানে দুজন ইন্টারপ্রেটার এখানে হাজির আছি। কাজে কোনো রকমের সুবিধা আপনার সেবা দেওয়ার জন্য যদি অন্য কোনো আপনারা করতে চান আপনাদের এখানে ইকুইপমেন্টস আছে সেটা নিতে হবে। ধন্যবাদ। থ্যাংক ইউ।
Thank you. Russian interpreters, can you please make your announcement at this time?
Good evening. Добрый вечер, уважаемые гости. В рамках сегодняшнего мероприятия для вас предоставляются услуги синхронного перевода. Для того, чтобы получить переносное устройство, пожалуйста, обратитесь за стол в углу при входе в актовый зал. А также, если вы подключаетесь к нам путем онлайн-конференции, то вам необходимо по телефону набрать номер 646-828-7666 и ввести код 161-875-4855, решетка. И еще раз, для онлайн-конференц-связи необходимо по телефону набрать номер 646-828-7666 и ввести код 161-875-4855, решетка. Спасибо. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mandarin interpreters, please make your announcement.
各位来宾晚上好如果有需要国语翻译的，请到后面拿翻译耳机，用完后请记得归还。在网上的朋友，如果需要国语翻译的，请拨打电话646-828-7666，谢谢。
Thank you. Thank you, interpreters. And I just want to remind everyone, please speak slowly and clearly for the interpreters. All right. Again, good evening, everyone. And thank you for joining us tonight at our Community Education Council for 28 Town Hall. Once again, my name is Quentin Meziton, and I am the president of District 28 CEC. And our special guest tonight, of course, is the one and only Chancellor Kamar H. Samuels. To begin, I would like to extend warm wishes of Ramadan Kareem to our Muslim community and warm wishes to our Christian community observing Lent. We are especially grateful to those who have joined us this evening while observing Ramadan and Lent. Your presence is deeply appreciated, and we apologize for any inconvenience this timing may have caused. CEC 28 needs the voices of our District 28 families. We need your guidance, and that is the reason we are so excited to host this town hall with our Chancellor this evening. We want the Chancellor to hear your important questions, concerns, and priorities. We will get through as many questions as we can this evening, and on behalf of the Community Education Council of District 28, we thank you for your attendance, dedication to the students and families of this district. Thank you. And as we get started, I'd like to take this time to introduce my team. Our amazing council members and outstanding administrative assistant in the audience. When you hear your name, please stand and shout, just stand and give a wave, give a little shout. Our first vice president is online, Lauren Clavin. So, could give her a hand while she's online. Thank you. Our second Vice President, Jennifer Sobers. Our Recording Secretary, Chantel Chambers. Our Treasurer, Alicia Bauer. Our Queensborough appointee, Kenya Townsend. Our council member, Lou Zhao. Council member Annie Koch. Council member Paquita Williams. Council member Eric Gretsch. And council member Cecily Zhu. And we have the best administrative assistant in all the districts, Dorinda. And I would also like to introduce the great District 28 Superintendent, Dr. Eric Blake. Thank you. Now, with that round of applause, you got to share some remarks.
So good evening, District 28 community. It's an honor to sit here with you today as we come together to celebrate the incredible work happening across our district, the Great 28. Tonight, we are privileged to welcome Chancellor Samuels and members of his cabinet. Thank you for your leadership, Chancellor Samuels, and for your commitment to the students and families of the great New York City, and of course, the Great 28. We are also grateful to our Community Council, CEC, and elected officials, and all our partners who continue to advocate for strong, equitable public schools. To our principals in the audience, teachers, school staff, students, your dedication shapes the daily experiences of our children, and we appreciate everything you do. To our students, you are the heart of this district. Your curiosity, your resilience, and your voices inspire all of us. And to our families, thank you for your trust, your partnership, and your unwavering support. Finally, District 28 is a community that thrives because we show up for one another. Together, we are building schools where every child is seen, supported, empowered to succeed. Welcome, everyone, and we're glad to have you here today.
It is now our esteemed pleasure to welcome the one and only in New York City, Chancellor Kamar Samuels.
All right. Well, maybe it's because I've been to 28 a couple of times. That's that I have to say that's a bigger welcome from a CEC than I typically get. So I appreciate that. I appreciate that so much. Thank you, President Quentin. It's not. It's how do you say it? Mezzanine? Perfect. Mezzanine. Yes. So there you go. I kind of know him as Quentin since I've been here a couple of times. So thank you, and also the rest of CEC 28 members. Thank you so much for your work and all you do on behalf of our young people every single day. District 28 students and families, thank you for being here. I am really honored and privileged to sit next to a great superintendent, Dr. Eric Blake. Thank you to Principal Angela Tushman and the staff here at JHS 217. Thank you so much for hosting us. District 28 President's Council President Giselle Mendoza, PTA President Rochelle Bruno, Vice President Michelle Lim, Vanessa Ruiz, and Executive Board members Elizabeth Sanchez, Kalima Davis, and Roselle Cooley. Our elected officials, I'm not sure, Donovan is a tall guy, so I don't think I see him. Wait, okay. Okay. Hi, how are you? And a council member is here, and uh, and so and as we come in, like share the names, so I can make sure I acknowledge the folks who need to be acknowledged. I want to wish everyone a happy Women's History Month, and as well as, of course, as your president said, to our families who celebrate a happy Ramadan Mubarak, as well as a blessed Lent to everyone. I'm thrilled to be joined here though by my new cabinet, who is over there, that we announced the updated org chart earlier this month, and these incredible leaders are joining me in forwarding this work and accelerating so much of the great things that we're doing in New York City public schools. I wanted, though, to specifically introduce you to our new Deputy Chancellor of Family, Partnership, and Community Support, Flavia Puello Padermo. Yes. I want to share a little bit about myself. Despite how I look, I've been doing this for more than 20 years. People always say, "You've been around that long?" Yes. And I started in the New York City public schools as a teaching fellow in the Bronx. I served as a principal and superintendent across the Bronx, Brooklyn, and Manhattan. I'm also a parent of two current public school students. I have three students, but two of them are in public schools. One is 3, so she'll be that just shows you I got a lot going on at home. So I want to thank you all for your dedication. You not only not only are you doing this for yourself, but I absolutely believe you're doing this for me as well as a parent in the system. I I want to make this brief. So just before, because I know you all have a lot of questions, but I do want to just focus on a couple priorities that we have. I believe, our schools should be safe. Our schools should be academically rigorous and certainly truly integrated. I believe safety is critical, not only our physical safety, but the sense of belonging and student voice that we see in schools. I believe in supporting our most vulnerable students, especially our students in temporary housing, our students with disabilities, our multilingual learners. I think that is really, really critical to the work that we do. We ought to make sure that we have academically rigorous schools. And I'm excited. I visited a classroom in District 28. I'm excited to continue the work we're doing with New York City Reads and New York City Solves. With New York City Solves, I really think it's time that as a city we embark on a revolution in math instruction and how we approach math in our city. MTSS is ensuring that every student get exactly what they need. And for those of you, it sounds really clunky. MTSS. It's really what it is. It's just making sure that if a student, for every student, there is a time in a day that they're getting access to the interventions that they need, and that there are several tiers of support that we are embarking on in school. And so, we think that that is critically important, especially for students with disabilities and our multilingual learners. I also believe in, true integration, and District 28 is a very diverse district, and I believe it's about the holistic school experience. It's not only demographics, but it's also about what's happening in the classroom. Are all of our students exposed to interdisciplinary learning? Are they exposed to culturally responsive teaching practices? And so to close, I want to share some key data points about District 28, about your student achievement as well as your finance. As we think about this, it can help us to frame the discussion. On the 2025 New York State exam, District 28 proficiency grew 8.2% in ELA, and it's proof you know what's going on. It's proof you know what you're doing. So 8.2 percentage points in ELA, and in math, 5.7 percentage points, both of which outpace the city's growth which is 7.2 points in ELA and 3.5 points in mathematics. So that's really strong movement. Right. And as of and as of October, District 28 has designated over $596 million to support their students' instructional needs. This is out of a $17 billion budget designated by K through 12 schools citywide. These numbers may increase as schools in District 28 and across the city continue to receive allocations. Look, I am super excited to partner with you, and I hope to see many of you though on our tours, right? We are actually coming to Queens. We're coming back to Queens tomorrow, I think, tomorrow evening. My cabinet is like, I didn't sign up for all of these nights. But I'm coming I'm coming back. Sorry, you can't say no anymore. I'm coming back to Queens tomorrow. We have an event at the Queens Innovation Center. And so I'm looking forward to see as many of you as possible there as we continue our conversations with our Chancellor. Thank you so much.
The great 28, we know we're great, but it sounds good when we're just retold that how great we are. Like, I love that. So thank you, Chancellor. And we'll now begin with the questions that we have received from surveying the community in advance of this town hall and through the town hall pre-registration. These questions will be asked by me and other council members up here, Councilmember Annie Koch, Alicia Bauer, Chantel Chambers, Kenya Townsend, Jennifer Sobers, and Paquita Williams. Let's start with the questions. Our first question. In District 28, many of our schools and intersections are experiencing ongoing shortages of school safety agents and crossing guards. Families have raised concerns and there have already been incidents that highlight the risk. What immediate steps is the department taking to address the shortage, and what is the long-term plan to recruit and retain enough safety personnel to properly protect our students?
Yeah, some people are they just know when the chancellor is going to need them to respond to. So, but before Mark goes, I do want to, as you know, and as I said in my remarks, safety is something that is critical to me. I think when our schools are safe, our families feel so much better. And I think, it's important to me to not just have a feeling of safety, but actually have safety in our schools. And one of the ways that we know that's critically important to us is that relationships in schools, it's not just, and I know the question is about school safety agents and so on, but we should never think that our safety is built on only one person or two people. Your safety is driven by the open communication and strong relationships that you have with each and every adult in the school, as well as the young people in the school. There's a reason why at the airport, even with all the metal detectors and everything, that there's a you see something, you say something message that you also hear there, right? Because that is actually how we are going to make sure that we are safe, is when we are connecting as a community. And I see this all over the city. And also, I think when we involve our young people in the decision making in schools, when they feel a sense of belonging, I think safety is wrapped up in all of those things. But Mark, I wanted to invite you to kind of address some of this as well.
Yeah, thank you, Chancellor, and thank you for the question. Good evening. 28, for real? Good evening, 28. So we had some friends there. So thank you very much for the question. Listen, safety and security is paramount, right? So when we think about safety, as the Chancellor said, we automatically think about the physical safety, not the emotional safety of our young people. And when you think about the responsibility, I hear it all over the city. I need another agent. I need more agents. I need more agents. Agents are not who make schools safe. We appreciate the great work that agents do. They are part of the school community, and we do agree that schools need more agents. Gone the day where we had 15 school safety agents in one school. Now we have to rely on 5, 4, 3, 2, and sometimes 1. Look at the principals in the back. 1, right? So here's the thing. That one school safety agent has the same ability as the 5. And when I say that, I mean they have the entire city at their hands. While we aggressively seek more school safety agents, it is a time-consuming task. School safety was at 5,000 and now down to 3,700 agents. They have now created a different way by which they create a path for our high school students to become school safety agents by creating the Assistant School Safety Agent Program. It's a program that's designated for a single agent where there are single agents in the school, and that's in our elementary schools, but we continue to fight on your behalf. Just note, just because the fight's not public, just because you don't hear about it, doesn't mean that this administration is not continuing to push to ensure the safety and security in our schools. Every time I hear that an agent hasn't shown up in a building, every time I hear that an agent has been pulled out of a building, we fight aggressively on your behalf. But I do want you to just keep in mind that safety and security is all of our fundamental responsibilities, and that's not a job left up to one person. We hear you loud and clear, and we're continuing the fight. And for those of you who are having the issue with the crossing guards, please reach out to my office. I am Mark Rampersant, for those of you who don't know, and you can find me in Outlook, like many of you do. Too many times? No. Like many of you do, and please continue to uplift your safety agent concerns and the issues with the crossing guards. We work in lockstep with our partners in the NYPD, and we've been super successful in every case where we needed a crossing guard at the school. So thank you very much for the question.
All right. Thank you, Mark.
All right, thank you. Our next question will come from Council Member Alicia Bauer.
Chancellor Samuels, many of our public schools across the district require critical repairs and technology upgrades. In working with the School Construction Authority, SCA, we have noticed that principals and school communities often have limited visibility into the progress of construction projects within their own buildings. Similarly, Community Education Council sometimes find it challenging to effectively advocate for neighborhood needs when there isn't a clear way to track capital requests and project timelines. Currently, much of the communication relies on individual email exchanges, which can make it difficult for school leaders and parents to stay consistently informed. Is there an opportunity for your administration in partnership with the School Construction Authority to explore a more modern and transparent system that allows school and CECs to easily track project progress, improve communication, and streamline the capital request process so communities can better support the work being done?
Such a great question. And, you know, as a superintendent, when I was a superintendent, this was a huge issue for me, right? One of the things is that, you know, maybe once per year, the SCA might come and they might say something. In our case, when the SCA came, you know, I didn't, as a superintendent, feel like their engagement process was meeting the needs of our community. And we launched a huge effort as a result, partner superintendents partnering with the CEC, where we submitted a report at the time because we were part of a pilot program where we looked at all of our buildings, and part of the issue is that a lot of our principals even and a lot of communities don't know the distinction between the Office of School, the Department of School Facilities at NYC Public Schools, and what SCA's responsibilities, right? That's one of the main, because, and then part of it is because, you know, our folks at the Department of School Facilities can actually do a lot to upgrade buildings and so on. And so it's not as clear for principals what's a capital need versus what's can be done at the school level. And so that's one of the things that we do need to work on. And secondly, many of our principals, I know when I was a principal, I didn't start thinking about SCA and those things until like my third year, right? Because there's so many things that you get to deal with. So that's another thing, just in terms of making sure our principals are supported in what they can look for, who they can talk to, when they can actually address these things. And finally, I think, when the elected official like gives us, gives a school some kind of, whether it's resume or just sometimes a huge amount of money, by the time we have to make sure that we know that the timeliness of that happening, that work happening, is important, because, $500,000 today is less 2 years from now. You can't buy the same thing, right? Exactly. And so it's critical to me as Chancellor that we continue to really I continue to advocate in this seat on behalf of districts and schools with SCA to make sure that we move that more quickly. And that's why I think our Deputy Chancellor of School Operations, Kevin Moran, will talk a little bit more and some more about what are some of the ways we're streamlining processes with SCA.
All right, thank you. And thank you for hosting today. CEC 28, the great 28, I'll get my plug into President Mezzadin. So that's an awesome question. It cuts to the heart of the issue. And the core question is, do we have a more modern system to track, monitor, evaluate, and other report on our facilities and the state of affairs within our buildings? And so a lot of the work had to happen internally on the New York City public school side. So one of the things we did is we started putting our building information on the website. And so the year it was built, the AHERA management plans for all the asbestos, and then started putting out on the building the attributes of the building. Like I can tell you, there's 68 instructional spaces in this building right now. 66 have functioning AC. The gymnasium and this auditorium do not have AC. But that would help inform some of your CEC requests and saying, look, I want a capital upgrade. To the principals in the room, having spent 28 years in this system, I realized there's a fundamental lack of visibility for you on a project award, a project scope, and a timeline for completion with an estimated date. Therefore, to the Chancellor's point, we could track the scope and the completion. That actually, right now, I know there's a resume room job on your webpage right now. So I know that's posted. So we're starting to do that work, but to the finer point of the end-to-end system, that is something we're working on with the SCA now to make sure we can manage all the data. And actually, we have an end-to-end system that'll do the very thing that you're asking for. Because the BCAS survey is more of a PDF version, whereas we want what you're saying, your question is a more modern system. That will happen, and we'll be more transparent for principals to make sure every program you get or capital award you get will be tracked, monitored, and reported on. So great question, and more to come. We'll follow up. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And I do want to acknowledge Kathleen Zapata, who is the representative from Donovan Richards' office, and specifically because if he was here, he would tell you Queens get the money.
All right. Our next question, this one's by me. Families continue to report gaps in special education services, including inconsistent speech therapy delivery and provider shortages, delays in AAC device access or repairs, and insufficient classroom support for nonverbal students who rely on these devices. What is the department's plan to ensure our students receive the full services mandated on their IEPs, which includes reliable speech therapy scheduling, timely device access and repair, and appropriate one-on-one instructional support where needed, while also preventing students from being pushed towards specialized placements due to service gaps? Additionally, what data does the department collect on service delivery gaps, and what accountability measures are in place to address these issues in real time and to ensure transparency for families?
All right, that is A very thorough and great question, right? And so first we have to be clear, and it's the department's position and the department's value and the department's belief that every child has the right to receive the services and support outlined in their IEP, and not only receive the support, but on time and fully consistent. At NYC Public Schools, we are committed to transparency, shared accountability, and strong partnership with parents, because the best students are best served when schools and families work together as true partners. We've seen some significant improvement in how we do this service delivery over the last 5 years. And as a city, we report to the city council on our reports, and we've seen significant increase. Now, for example, in District 28 today, over 92.5% of students are fully receiving their mandated services, and over 96% of students are receiving their related services. Now, here's the thing with that. If I'm part of the 4%, or if I'm part of the 7.5%, it might as well be 100%. It might as well be 100% people not receiving it. And so we do have to continue to do a better job of trying to make sure that we meet all of our IEP services. While the majority of students are receiving full services, there are gaps, and we're going to continue to work on strengthening those gaps in the service delivery. And I know I have Chief Andy Corso here who's going to talk a little bit more.
Thank you so much, Chancellor Samuels. Thank you for the great question, President Mezitin. And you live this, we all live this every day. If you're the one student or the 100 students who don't have what they need, that's unacceptable. And I just appreciate Chancellor Samuels reaffirming that. What are we doing and how do families access it? We were able to hire 6 additional related service providers in District 28. We need to continue that so we have more people providing service. We also are trying to use the people we have more broadly. So we're looking at 6-period coverages where people who are already in our school can provide additional related service sessions. And we have just opened up through partnership with the UFT 9th session OTPT, so that those providers are able to work an additional period, get paid additional dollars, who are already in our schools and know our students. Huge appreciation to the Chancellor for supporting funding for that important initiative. Let's talk about AT for just a minute, because we need families to know how to get those evaluations and get their devices in a timely manner. One thing I don't think folks know as much is that we do offer those at Weekend Academy. There's a Weekend Academy site here at Q40 where we can actually have AT evaluations happen each Saturday. So that's something that we can do right here in the district. And we'll be also offering AT evaluations during summer at ESY sites, in addition to what's offered at the school. We have more work to do, and grateful to be in partnership with you to spread the word about what's available.
Thank you.
Next question. Our next question is from Councilmember Chantel Chambers.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Chancellor. Will the DOE formalize a clear, transparent, and enforceable sibling priority policy, including during admissions and summarizing placements, to reduce family hardship, keep siblings together where space permits, and how are gifted and talented programs audited to ensure equity, diversity, and access for students of all abilities?
All right, so currently we do have sibling priorities in place. Look, I think it's important to us. I think it's important to us that our families attend school, certainly in elementary school, together as much as possible, and we have policies in place to do that, including for summarizing as well. And so we'll continue to make sure that those priorities exist. You asked a very interesting question about gifted and talented programs, which I think is something that we are going to be looking at over the next couple of months, because currently in our gifted and talented programs, we do see that there are a lot of siblings in gifted and talented schools. In the past, when there was a test, you would have a certain number that you would have to get to, and then our siblings could have like a lower number. Now what's happened is, because we do not have an admissions criteria for our citywide G&T schools, what the criteria essentially is that you get recommended by your preschool or your parent. It's based on a rubric. We've seen significant increases in the number of students who have an economic need. I think that's gone up by 42%, but we've also seen a significant increase in the number of siblings that are in our G&T schools, and quite frankly, some families question the fairness of that, right? And so we have to then and that happens because we have a sibling priority that's in place. And so we need to, over the next couple of months, we'll be launching sessions where we'll be talking about some of the strengths and concerns around the current model of our G&T program. So we'll continue to talk about that. Thank you.
All right. Before we go to the next one, I just want to update everybody. At home, we have right now over 250 watchers. So thank you, families, for District 28 showing up. I see you. It's going to keep growing. Let's get these questions. All right. Our next question is from Annie Koch.
Hello, Chancellor Samuels, can you hear me? It is a pleasure and honor to share the stage here tonight with my colleagues now all. I'd like to let you know that I was a former teaching fellow, cohort 3, 2002.
Before me.
Oh my, I dated myself. So I'm asking the next question from the perspective of a parent and former teacher in public school. District 28 is one of the most overcrowded districts in New York City, and new developments are going up all over the district. We urgently need more school seats. How will you ensure the class size law is implemented on time and in a thoughtful and effective way?
Yeah, that's a big one. Look, I think specifically and particularly for elementary school, I am a proponent of the class size law. We have seen over the last number of years, we did not do the necessary work to actually get to a point where we could more sustainably meet the needs of the law, right? And so we are at a point where in September, this coming September, we should be at 80%, and that is going to be at it's going to be extremely difficult to do without exceptions, and even with exceptions, it's going to be very difficult to do. And so let's, talk a little bit about what's required and what's needed. All right. When the first thing that is required is space, right? You're going to have space and it sounds like, that's a premium. Space is a premium in District 28. Right. And so you get the space, and then you're going to need the extra teachers. Right. We've done an incredible investment in teachers over the last year. I believe last year we hired something close to a little bit more than 7,000 teachers across the city. This year we asked for the state for $600 million just to fund the teachers that is going to be required to get to as close as possible as we can to 70% to 80%. And so now we have a little bit of an issue, right? So elementary school teachers, I think we have enough teachers either through fellows program and others. We already have a shortage of special education teachers, a shortage of multilingual learners, and shortage of math teachers. So it's particularly difficult to get to the teacher recruitment that you need, because we don't necessarily have, for middle and high school, because we don't necessarily have as many teachers in those pipelines. It's also difficult because we have around the city a host of huge high schools that would require significant capital investment to get to the class size level. So when you're speaking specifically of District 28, I want to do my goals are to do two things. Make sure that we are exploring all of the space that we currently have, because sometimes you have, you might have over subscribed enrollment, co-located schools in one situation, you might have space in another building. And so we ought to make sure that we're utilizing all of the space that we currently have well. And that's where we're going to work with your superintendent. We're going to work with folks to make sure we're optimizing that. And then the next thing we're going to have to do is, where there is necessary, and we'll do necessarily maybe some, some utilization proposals based on that. But then we are going to have to think about where the capital investment needs exist. And I think you're saying there are a lot of buildings going up. One of the things that they've worked on with developers is to ensure that oftentimes when there are new buildings, there's also a school attached to those new buildings. So we have to think about that work and what that looks like in District 28. And then we will need the SCA investment to ensure that where we need extra space, that we have to find and work with your community boards too, right? Because in order to cite a school, you need community board support. There are times that we find sites and community boards just might say the last thing that we want is a high school, or we're gonna need support from our families and so on to help us when the time comes to really speak to community board members. But overall, I think we're in the middle right now of some heavy negotiations with the SCA, with our elected officials, to make sure that we can, where the necessary adjustments need to be made to the law, where the necessary flexibilities need to be made, that we can get them, but also that we can develop a really strong capital plan that will address the seat issue. So thank you. I know that was a long answer, but it's a tough question.
That was a good answer.
I don't know what to tell you.
All right.
No easy answers.
Bringing up community boards, I just want to acknowledge our past community board member, Vanessa Sparks, who is now the engagement coordinator for New York City Councilman Ty Hankerson. Thank you, Vanessa Sparks. Our next question will be coming from our second vice president, Jennifer Sobers.
I'm just going to stand up because I'm all the way down here. Good evening, everyone here in person. Good evening, everyone listening online. And good evening, Chancellor Samuels.
Good evening.
What policies and protocols are currently in place across District 28 to protect Black, Brown, immigrant, and special needs students from discrimination, racism, xenophobia, and bias? And how are these protections implemented in schools? Additionally, what anti-bias and culturally responsive training do staff receive? How is that information communicated to families? And how are bias-related incidents reported, investigated, tracked, and publicly shared in aggregate to ensure transparency and accountability?
Yeah. Wow. Thank you for that question. That is not only a great question, but something that is always, top of mind for me. I think that when we think about what it means to live in a diverse city, a lot of these things that you are talking about often come up. And for me, what we've seen is current events leading to a lot of bias in our schools. And, this is not something new. When I was a teacher, when I became a teacher in 2003, the current event was 9/11, and like a lot of the bias pieces were around Islamophobia. Then we came through years where we had, LGBTQ bias. We went through COVID. We had anti-Asian bias, and most recently we had obviously October 7th that led to a lot of anti-Semitism, and all during that time we have seen a lot of anti-Black racism in school as well. And so when I think about the work that we can do, I think about these things as first things that we should be able to create schools and build the capacity for schools to address these issues, and not wait for the event to happen that's going to be the catalyst to that. So we can do things every single day. And the first thing, and one of the most important things that we're doing, is with our curriculum. We have our Black Studies curriculum and our Hidden Voices work that goes across 9 identities, including the global African diaspora, our Jewish heritage, our Muslim work, as well as many more. And so just a student with disabilities work, just so much there that is rich. So we've never had more resources around this, but something that we ought to be doing is, it's one thing to have the resources, but we need to do a better job, quite frankly, of ensuring that we are working with our teachers to make sure that they understand the not just the importance, but the optimal times to integrate this work within your daily routine as instructionally. And then we need to build our teachers' capacity for themselves to be able to see things happening in a classroom and respond to those things in ways that are productive. I'll give you an example. I was in a classroom when I was superintendent, and these 2 students were having a conversation about the First Amendment because we do civics for all in our schools, and that's something that was happening in that classroom. And one child said, you should be able to say whatever you want, just as long as you don't hurt my feelings. And the other kid says, but what if what I'm saying is true? And like I could see the teacher getting nervous because she wasn't sure how to handle this situation. And so I think what we ought to be doing is ensuring that we're building the capacity of our teachers, so in those moments on a daily basis, they can help our young people to connect across difference, right? Because we're preparing our young people to be in a super polarized society. And if they don't understand and if they don't have the necessary skills in empathy, then they won't be able to engage in that work. So I think that this is quite frankly something we have a plan to do better on, because we do need to. It's not enough to create the resources. We have to create the pathway to make sure that those resources are being used and used consistently with young people and teachers. And Mark Rampersant, again, our Chief of Safety and Prevention. Mark.
Yep, thank you very much, Chancellor, and I'll be super brief. Just a point of information to share. In District 28, as it relates to bullying complaints overall, you guys are down 17%. As it relates to violations when it comes to bullying, discrimination, intimidation, or harassment, you're down 37% as it relates to those violations. So the work is in fact being done. Thank you for the person who clapped over there. So I share that with you to say that the work is being done. And while the Chancellor shared with you that we can always do more, I want to take a victory lap around the work that is in fact happening. That's why I shared that with you today. Every one of our schools has a Respect for All liaison who's got one job. And that one job is to take the concerns of young people, as well as educate young people that schools should be free of bullying, harassment, and intimidation. And anytime there's a case of that happening in our school, outside of the signage that should live all through the school, that liaison is trained annually to make sure that they are supporting young people in those aforementioned areas. It is super important to understand that outside of our Respect for All liaison, every adult in the building is responsible for the safety of our young people. And when we create the environment that the Chancellor just spoke about, every young person will be confident and they will be secured in the fact that I can go and tell anybody that I'm not feeling comfortable today, and you are going to, in fact, do something. Outside of the information that I just shared with you about the reductions in this area, you guys are seeing a 19% decrease in superintendent suspensions. You are seeing a 7% decrease in principals and a 9% overall in suspensions. That means that the work is happening here. And as it relates to incidents overall, you're seeing a 24% decrease in the most egregious incidents in schools in this district. So that is in fact a victory lap for you, right? We don't get to celebrate the work, and most people say we still have a long way to go, but we are certainly not where we were. So thank you very much for that question.
Thank you. Next, Councilmember Bakita.
Does it come up? Okay. Good evening, all. Thank you, Chancellor. Okay. Will the district commit to structured, reoccurring town halls with published follow-up action steps? Do I need to read that again?
No, you're good.
Okay.
If I needed that with you right here, we'd have a problem. No, first of all, thank you for the question. And in general, you know, I think town halls are a great way for communities to come together, but they really do need to be effective, an effective conversation back and forth. And I know the superintendent is gonna respond to that question.
Right, so thanks for that question. I just want to say special welcome to my team members who are with us tonight and to the principals who remain. So thank you for that. Okay, so the district is already engaged in structured recurring town halls to our ongoing monthly meetings at the CEC. Every CEC, I gave my comprehensive monthly report that address questions alongside members of my leadership team and of course families and also the principals to keep the community well informed about district initiatives and priorities. And these town halls function as a central platform for two-way communication. It's not like I just speak to, but there's also a moment where we would speak and any member of the community is able to speak on just about every topic. And I make sure I follow up, especially inviting parents into my office, going to the schools, visiting them frequently to make myself very visible. So of course, there's always room for improvement, but at least that is a catalyst to which I use to connect with families and parents. So to have this open dialogue at our monthly meetings. Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent Dr. Blake. Our next council member, Kenya, with the next question.
Sure. Good afternoon. Hello again, everyone. As mentioned, my name is Kenya Townsend. Welcome. Thanks so much for coming. Congratulations to you and your new cabinet. I'm so happy that they're supporting you in your conversations throughout the city. People really wanted to know just the clarity on the current administration's position on mayoral control of the public school system, particularly in light of prior statements suggesting that the mayor would relinquish control and commit to working towards a governance structure that increases the transparency, shared decision-making, and meaningful empowerment for schools and families.
Right. So this is a fabulous question. And, you know, maybe in this room, I don't know, but I do have to take some credit or blame, however you are, in deliberating with the mayor and talking about the fact that if the mayor wants to do the things that he said, that he wants to do. And if we have since we have such a bold vision, especially for universal childcare, we have a bold vision for what we want to see happen in schools. It is very difficult to do that when you have a system in flux and possibly a system with 32 different districts doing different things. And so I certainly, throughout my conversations with the mayor, talked about the importance of having mayoral accountability. And I'm going to call it mayoral accountability because if we say we want to have an expansion of 2K to get to so many of our parents who are spending so much on childcare, if at the end of these 4 years you didn't see movement on that, we want to be able to say, this is what you said, why didn't you do it? Right? And you're not going to be able to say that if you, to one person, if we have several different districts doing the same thing, where a district could say, yeah, we don't want that 2K seats, or we don't want those things, right? And so it's important to me to really talk about mayoral control from the perspective of a practitioner, right? I was a New York City teaching fellow. When I came into the system, I was given 2 binders. It was a red binder and a blue binder. And that was what essentially I should have been teaching from. Yeah, people are here, they know what, yeah, I see the nods, they know it's true, right? And, now when we think about what our teachers are coming in to schools and receiving as new teachers, there is a baseline. There is a high quality curriculum across every school, across every district, and we are confident that our young people are receiving grade level content. And then we are also confident that they now know research-based interventions that they can do. You cannot do that without mayoral accountability and mayoral control. We can't have 32 districts and the high schools doing their own thing. That's my position. That's now the mayor's position. And we're going to rock out that way. And so we have, we've seen the governor, we have in the governor's budget, she did put in mayoral control for an extension of 4 years. We're hoping that the rest of the legislative bodies agree with her. But we are strongly in support of mayoral accountability. Now, that is not divorced from having true parental voice and true family input. And again, I'm a parent myself. There is a way to get to both. We need to, and we are listening to advocates of ways they want to kind of make some shifts, some flexibilities. The ones that we can do on our own, we will try to do on our own. We cannot do this work without real input and parents being a part of the decision-making process. But when it comes to the buck's got to stop with somebody, right? And so we are, and you might not always agree, right? We might not always agree, but what I believe under my chancellorship, no one should be able to say is that I didn't thoughtfully engage, I didn't listen to communities, I didn't make some adjustments to the plans that I have, even if I didn't agree with everything that everyone said. Thank you. Yep.
Thank you. And quick update online, we have 478 members. Exactly. We're doing something right, always. And I want to just take this time, a little quick moment, to acknowledge our principals. I know Dr. Superintendent, Dr. Blake acknowledged you, but if you could please stand, because you guys are amazing, and get a round of applause, yes. Thank you. Get you guys. Thank you. That also meant if you're a high school principal too, like any high school principals in here, I see one and he's just being modest. Like if you just thank you, Harts High School. Thank you.
Yeah, I have to shout out principal I met in District 23, Amir El Kanani. Like good. I didn't realize you were here, man. Like congratulations. That's great. Yeah, the great 28 is getting a lot of great people. So
Yes.
great.
No, thank you. Yeah, El Karani. You can't miss him. 6 foot. What? All right. I also want to acknowledge our PEP members who represent us all over the city, Adriana Alicia and Shirley Albin.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sometimes I feel like those two are like following me around everywhere I go. But it's always good to see you. Always.
Thank you. And Face, you guys do a lot. I don't know everyone's name, so I'm just gonna don't take it personal. Anne Marie, you've been holding us down. BB Matadin, you've been holding us down. Katie, you've been holding us down. Flavia, we had a little connection. Andy, so you guys are phenomenal. Kevin Moran, don't take it anyway if I didn't say your name. You all are good, but those ones are good.
Just
and we got one more shout out. Our liaison Tamika, she's holding it down with Rebecca. Thank you.
Yeah, just one final shout out from me. You know, Dr. Blake is here, but we also have Superintendent Josephine Vanessa. She's also here from a high school. That's right.
Yes, I was getting to that. Look, that is not just, Dr. Josephine, Superintendent Van Ness. That is the queen of the South. Follow her on social media. She's everywhere. Thank you so much. All right, as we get to our last question. Yes, time.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to stay late?
No. I'm already over, but it's a great 28. I can't cut you all short.
Yes.
One more is fine.
So, as the president and D75 representative, this question holds dear to me. With the growing number of District 75 co-locations across our schools, many families and students are sharing concerns about ongoing misunderstandings and ableist attitudes towards D75 programs and students. While special education is often discussed broadly, D75 represents a very different reality for many families. What steps will the DOE take to ensure that D75 students are fully valued within our school communities while also expanding the tools, supports, and pathways that help them achieve greater independence, including clearer pathways to diplomas and meaningful post-secondary outcomes?
Wow, this is something that's incredibly important to me. I think that as I work with so many superintendents across the city and so many principals, I just need to say, rest assured, the vast majority of our schools and principals are really incredibly supportive of inclusive programs within those schools, making sure that they're doing the necessary programming work, making sure that they're working with their District 75 counterparts to have a collaborative environment and make sure that we are getting a high quality experience for our young people in District 75 and our students with disabilities. I will say that I will just, put a fine point on this before I turn it over to Andy. Where we're falling short on that is going to be a huge priority of mine. We will move with urgency to make sure that our adults are creating spaces that are incredibly inviting and that are serving every single student. There is no place for discrimination against anyone, and particularly not our students with disabilities. So we are going to continue to work on that wherever it raises its head. And I just wanted to kind of turn it over to Andy to add anything you wanted to add.
President Mezitin, thank you so much for this question. Chancellor, thank you for those strong words. I've been in many of these meetings with you, President Mezitin, and I'm grateful as always for your leadership and for asking this important question. Students recommended for District 75 live in every community and every neighborhood in New York City. We are neighbors. We are in community with each other. One of the reasons we support so greatly co-location for students in District 75 is that ableism and prejudice break down when we are literally in community with each other. It's one of the reasons I'm so grateful for Chancellor Samuels and the priority of true integration, which must include students with disabilities, along with many other identities in this great city. We have more work to do. I'm grateful for Chancellor Samuels and your bold words at the CEC too, against ableist language that are in our communities. And I'm grateful for the work of space planning, in particular under the leadership of Chris Mangiero and the Building Council and Co-Location Handbook about how we share space better for all students and all of their needs. The last thing I want to bring up is the importance of post-secondary opportunities and graduation. And I'm so glad you raised that. Many of our parents of students with disabilities, especially those with more significant support needs, are left with the question, what happens after age 22? What happens when my student leaves the school system and we're not doing our job unless we prepare students for a thriving, fulfilling life after age 22? Part of that work is about transition opportunities, internships, and other meaningful career opportunities. And part of that work that we'll need all of you for is the do portrait of a graduate coming out from New York State, redefining what it means to be a graduate in New York City and including students with all abilities and disabilities, including students in District 75. Thank you for the question. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you, Chancellor.
All right, let's sneak in a few more shout outs. We have another CEC president from CEC 26, Al Suhu. I see you. Thank you for showing up. I'll be at your town hall as well. We got each other. Also, Catherine Zapata, we share her. So I know the chancellor mentioned her, but she's also a direct relationship with our district. And just to let you guys know, we've gotten the most funding from the borough president than any other district. So we really appreciate that.
D28 gets the money. That's we should change it.
And I know Dr. Superintendent Blake mentioned his crew, but Vic, Sonia, and Raj, thank you, Dr. Benoit, for all that you do behind the scenes. We appreciate you guys. And thank you everyone online. 700 guys. We hit the 700 mark. Like we are, man, we're going viral. This is beautiful. Thank you. Everyone online, the principals, the teachers who stayed here after work, like we appreciate you guys. Paras, janitors, all staff, thank you for showing up. Today we got to ask questions. We took your concerns and priorities and we asked the chancellor and he so eloquently answered our questions. Each of them, I want to just give him another round of applause. Thank you for coming through. Like he personally answered some of those questions. He didn't even delegate it. He was like, I could send this to them, but nah, I'm gonna do this myself. I appreciate that. And also, you know, CEC council members, I cannot do this presidency without you guys. You guys are amazing. And I just want to give you guys your flowers while I'm up here because you guys make this so amazing. And we all thank our administrative assistant, Dorinda, for just always showing up for us and responding to all this stuff for us. So again, other than that, we asked our questions, we showed up for our District 28 the Great. Please get home safe, stay dry, and thank you again for showing up.